Ukrainian President Viktor Yanukovych says he is deeply outraged by events at opposition protests in Kiev. Police stormed a camp early on Saturday and the Kiev police chief said he regretted the conduct of the operation. Opposition parties had been protesting at the government's refusal to sign an EU association agreement and have called for early elections. Thousands of demonstrators have since regrouped and a major demonstration has been called for Sunday. Jailed ex-PM Yulia Tymoshenko has urged Ukrainians not to leave the authorities' actions unanswered. In a statement read out on Ukrainian TV on Saturday night, President Yanukovych insisted that Ukrainians were united by our choice of our common European future and demanded an immediate investigation into Saturday's violence in the center of Kiev. I am deeply outraged by events that took place on Independence Square overnight. I condemn the actions which led to a confrontation and people's suffering. He called for those responsible to be brought to account, but did not explicitly blame police. Kiev Police Chief Valery Kuryak admitted that the police did not come out of it looking good, but argued that missiles had been thrown at the police by some demonstrators. At least 31 people were taken into police custody. It was horrible. We were holding a peaceful demonstration and they attacked us, said protester Lada Tromata. They threw us away like garbage. Several Western countries have condemned Saturday morning's intervention. U.S. State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki condemned the violence by government authorities against peaceful demonstrators. By Saturday evening, demonstrators had regrouped in another square inch as the city center, outside St. Michael's Golden Domed Monastery. Opposition parties say a national resistance HQ is to be set up, followed by a nationwide strike, with a big rally expected on Sunday. Members of Ukraine's political opposition had met for emergency talks after the dispersal. We have made a joint decision to form a national resistance task force and have begun preparing for an all-Ukrainian national strike, former Economy Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk told reporters. Our demands are the resignation of Interior Minister Vitaly Zakharchenko, an investigation of his actions and his trial, the resignation of the government and the president, and early presidential and parliamentary polls. We are calling on all civic activists, civil society and all those who care about Ukraine's future to fight the Viktor Yanukovych regime together. Yulia Tymoshenko urged protesters to take part in Sunday's rally and not to give in until the regime is overthrown by peaceful means. In a message read by her daughter, the jailed opposition leader urged Ukrainians, fly, drive, walk to Kiev from all parts of Ukraine, but gather everyone on 1 December. Foreign pressure. President Yanukovych on 21 November suspended preparations for signing an EU association agreement that would have opened borders to goods and set the stage for an easing of travel restrictions. At the end of a summit in Lithuania at which he had been due to sign the deal, EU leaders warned on Friday they would not tolerate Russian interference in the bloc's relations with former Soviet republics. The summit did, however, reach provisional accords with Georgia and Moldova. Mr. Yanukovych said pressure from Moscow had led him to make his decision, arguing that Ukraine could not afford to sacrifice trade with Russia, which opposed the deal. EU Council President Herman Van Rompuy said the parties had been really close to signing the association agreement in Lithuania, but added, "We need to overcome pressure from abroad." German Chancellor Angela Merkel said the door would always remain open for Ukraine. Independence Square was the scene of the Orange Revolution in 2004, which saw Mr. Yanukovych ousted and a Western-leaning government brought to power. Mr. Yanukovych was elected president 5 years later, narrowly defeating then Prime Minister Tymoshenko, a leading figure of the Orange Revolution. In 2011 she was sentenced to 7 years in jail for abuse of office, a case widely criticized in the West as political revenge. Tymoshenko has been on hunger strike since Monday over the failure to sign the EU agreement.